Hi guys, I'm Sarah Catterall. I'm the Education Officer at Goldberg Museum, and I haven't had the chance to meet you guys in person yet, but I'm really excited to be joining you for April's Family Craft Day with the theme Show Me the Mushu, based on Disney's Mulan, which is probably my favorite Disney movie. So I'm really excited to be here doing this with you guys. So for our first craft today, we are going to be creating Mulan's most valuable trusted advisor by making our own dragon puppets, little dragon marionettes. Marionettes are puppets that are attached to strings, and they can be manipulated to dance and fly and move. So we're going to be making our own dragons today, so please join us, grab your craft supplies, and let's get started. Okay, so before we get started, make sure that you have your supply list. You can download that from our website. It looks like this. It has supplies, some photographs, as well as some suggestions for some substitute supplies in case you're missing anything at home. And so pause the video if you need to go grab the supplies and print off the list. And once you're ready to go, we're going to start with these two cardboard tubes. One is full size for the body, one is cut in half to be the head. And you're going to be punching some holes on the body. You're going to do 4 on one side, spaced out just like this. You're going to turn it around and do 2 more on the other side, 1 here and 1 here. I just used a pen and I just poked a hole in like that. So 4 on one side, 2 on the other. And on the head, you're going to poke 2 holes, 1 on one side right there and 1 on the opposite side like that. Just using a pen. If you've got a hole punch, that works too. Okay, the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut out some wings and some dragon spikes. So I have just hand-drawn some wings, and I've drawn a couple of dragon spikes. I've drawn some bigger ones for the body and 2 smaller ones for the head because you don't have as much room. So go ahead and pause the video and just draw some wings, any shape you want. Draw 3 medium-sized triangles, 2 smaller ones, and then when you're ready, we will move on to the next step. So once you're finished, you should have 2 wings. I've done 5 little spikes. It's up to you with how many you want to do, and you should have your cardboard tubes with the holes punched into it. Okay, so you've cut out your wings, you've cut out your spikes, you have them laid out. Next thing that we're going to do is we want to have a pretty green, red, purple, yellow, whatever color dragon you want. We want to make the body and the head that color. So if you want to use paint, now's a great time to pause the video and go ahead and paint your head and your body. You'll just need some time to let it dry. You can use markers to color it if you want to, or you can do what I'm going to do, which is I'm going to use some clear glue and a paintbrush, and I'm going to squeeze some glue onto my paintbrush. Take that. I'm going to paint it onto my body just like this. And I'm going to take some tissue paper, which I've torn up into strips, and I'm going to apply it like this. And I'm going to repeat that all over the body, layering it as necessary. Kind of creates a scale effect. One thing that's really important as you are, if you're using the tissue papers, is just make sure that, as you can see here, I'm going to be covering a hole by accident with some tissue paper, which is totally fine. I'm going to take my tissue paper, it's going to go over one of the holes that we punched in because I want it to be even. Just take your pen and find the hole, punch that in so you don't forget where they are. Okay, so go ahead if you want to, pause the video and take some time to apply your green tissue paper, your markers, or your paint to your dragon's body and to your dragon's head, just making sure that you clear those holes that you have punched in. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is once you have cut out your wings and your spikes and you have colored your dragon's head and body, is we're going to fasten the wings and spikes onto your body. So I'm going to show you here what I have done. This is my dragon. These are his wings, and you can see there's some spikes along the body. So what I did, I took my hot glue gun and I just did some lines right along the spaced them evenly, and then I just pressed the triangle into it, and that was for the spikes. And then on the sides I've centered them, and that's where I'm placing my wings, so I'm just holding them down. One thing you might want to do with the wings is you might just want to fold up the bottom end of the wing and use that to place into the hot glue rather than just placing it in vertically. If you place it in with this shape, then this part can sit in the hot glue and gives it a bit more stability. I have also taken, it's a little bit hard to see, but I've taken some Scotch tape and I've just reinforced that back there. So I have the spikes on the back, attach that with hot glue. You can use clear glue as well, it just might take a bit longer to dry. And then I've also attached the wings. There's the body. And also, here is our little head. We've got some spikes and we've got his green body all covered, ready to go. Okay, so once we have done that, you can attach the legs to your body. And what you're going to do is you're going to take those strings that were part of the, that were on the instruction sheet. I'm using knitting yarn, and that's what I have in my house. If you have it, I would recommend a string that has a tighter, where the fibers are more tightly wound. This is kind of loose, which makes it a little bit tricky to feed through the holes. So if you have normal thread or wire or something like that, I would recommend that. But what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 pieces of string that are roughly the same length. These are my 2 here. I'm going to say these are about 4 to 5 inches long. And you're going to thread them through those 4 bottom holes that you punched. And you're using your nice newly covered dragon's body, but I want to do this so you can see exactly where the strings are going. You're going to take your string, thread it through one side like that, reach inside, pull it through. It's coming out the bottom now. And then you're just going to thread it through the hole that is right next to it. So again, just finding that a little bit tricky with the yarn. There we go. And that is the beginning of your legs right there. And you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side, sorry, on the bottom. You'll be threading some more legs right through here. And then what you can do once you have thread your legs through is you can take beads that you'll see on the instruction sheet as well, and you can thread as many beads as you want down each string, and that just gives your legs a little bit of weight. You can do 1 bead at the bottom to act as feet, and if you don't have any beads but you do want to add some weight to your dragon's legs, you can use a pop can tab, and just if you want to, you can color it with a marker ahead of time, and you can tie the string to the popcorn tab, and now your dragon's going to have some feet if you don't have any beads. So what that's going to look like is you'll have a dragon's body, and you can see that my dragon's legs are threaded through, and he has some beads for feet. Okay, so that's the legs. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to attach some eyes to our dragon's head. I have some googly eyes there. If you don't have any, that's fine. You can just take a black marker and draw some on. So you'll take your hot glue gun or your Elmer's glue here. Just going to put a little bit on the back of the eye and fasten that directly to the dragon's head. And you're going to do that 2 times for 2 eyes. And that is going to look like this. So there is your dragon's head, lovely spikes, green, and now you've got some eyes on your dragon's head. So just make sure that when you're using the hot glue, hold it down for a couple seconds. With this liquid glue, it's going to take a bit longer. But now you have dragon's head. Okay, we have dragon's head. We've got dragon's body with legs and some beads. The next step is we're going to take some orange and red tissue paper, and we are going to make fire for our dragon. So what I did here was I took about 4 strips of tissue paper and I sort of mixed it up, and then I bunched it up like this, and I took scissors to it and I cut out triangles to give it a bit of a textured look. So you're just going to go through, cut out some triangles like so, and just give it a bit of a feathered edge. And once you have cut in enough triangles, as many as you want, you're going to take some Scotch tape. Take some Scotch tape, and you're just going to wrap that around the top to bunch it together. So when it's all finished, your fire will look something like this. You've got lots of triangles in there, and I've got some tape holding it together. And so you can go ahead and pause the video and prep your fire. It might be easier for you to cut the triangles before you bunch it all together. But this is going to be your fire. You're going to take your dragon, And I'm going to use both tape and hot glue, and I'm going to mount the fire into the top of the dragon's mouth, just like this. So I'll take the end here, put some hot glue on it. Whoa, quite a bit there. And we're going to mount it in just like that. So now, here we go. Our dragon is now a fire-breathing dragon, which makes him a little bit more formidable. We're almost done. Now we want to fasten our dragon's head to our dragon's body. So on the instruction sheet, it asks for a straw, and I had to make a substitute because I didn't have any. So I took some green construction paper and I rolled it up really, really tight and wrapped Scotch tape around it, and that is how I made my substitute straw. And I threaded about 6 to 7 inches of yarn through it. Again, if you have thread or some fishing wire, I recommend using that. I think it's going to work better for you. Okay, take your dragon's head and look at the hole that you punched on the bottom right there. That is where we're going to thread our thread through. So we'll take one end, it doesn't matter which end, and we're going to pop it right through. Perfect. You can pull it through for now. We'll fasten it afterwards. Same thing, we're taking the opposite end, and just make sure you find the front of the dragon. So that's, for me, that's here. And we're going to thread this through the top of the hole into the tube. Perfect. So now when you pull the ends tight, you'll see you have your dragon's head attached to a string. His head will be held upright once we attach him to his puppet sticks. So you just want to attach your attach the string inside of the tube. I'm just going to use a piece of Scotch tape. So thread any excess thread through the tube. Alternatively, once you fasten it in, I'm using tape. You could use hot glue. Then you could also just trim anything that is extra. Voila! Now we have a head and a body attached. Okay, so we're heading to our final step now. What you're going to need are 2 popsicle sticks, or if you don't have these, 2 pencils will do. You're going to take these, make a cross shape like this, and attach them this way using your hot glue gun. If you have pencils, then you could just wrap a lot of tape around the middle and it'll achieve the same effect. So you're going to fasten them into a cross shape, and what you're also going to need are 2 pieces of string. They should be long but different lengths. So one, as you can see here, is shorter than the other. The short string is going to fasten to the head, and the longer string is going to fasten to the body. So you're going to take your strings, and once your popsicle sticks have dried, you're going to fasten them onto the end of the same stick. So when you're finished, it's going to look like this. You have your stick, it's attached, it's fastened, and the strings are attached to the same stick, just opposite ends. And, okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take the shortest string, and we're going to thread it through the hole on the very top of our dragon's head that we did right at the very beginning. And we're going to tie it through, and it's totally okay if we can see the string this time because they're part of the marionette strings. They're meant to be seen. And so I'm going to tie a good tight knot. Okay, so my head is now attached. Take the opposite string, the long one, and you're going to tie it through the last open hole on the body at the bottom there. Okay, we're almost done making our dancing puppets. And now, just like Mulan, wherever we go, we can take our trusted advisor with us. So your puppets can be manipulated however you want. You can make them dance, fly, run around. But now we have our very own Mushu. Thanks, guys.